Hello guys, today I'm going to repair this electric blender. The brand is Hanabishi and it is not working. And then I tell you the flow of the wiring of this electric blender. Then next thing to do is to remove all these rubber stand so you can access the 4 screws to remove the base plate. And then the problem is the other line is already unplugged or not connected. The wiring flow of this electric blender is the line 1, this line 1 going to the selector switch, and then going to the diode, and then the other wire connected to the winding, and then going to the carbon brush. The other line is going to, this is the line 2, consider this as a line 1, going to normally open switch, and then as you can see, this wire is already soldered from the normally open switch. And then normally open switch going to the thermal switch, thermal fuse, and then thermal fuse going to the winding, and then the other wire going to the carbon brush of the motor. This drain is for the excess or water flow that comes from the outer of the blender, so it can not damage the parts, electric parts of the blender. The next thing to do is to remove these 2 screws here that holds the normally open switch to solder again the wire, the line 2. To solder this line to the normally open switch. As you can see, it has a spring, and then this stick. When you put the blender on the top, it will push the button here. It will push the button here, and then that's the time the blender will start when you turn on the switch, selector switch. Without the blender on the top, it will not operate. To solder this line from the normally open switch, we need the soldering iron, optional paste, soldering paste, and then soldering lead. Remove this shrinkable tube from the copper wire of the line. solder the line wire to the normally open switch. Then we can test this to check if it will works or not. To test the electric blender, then plug the line wire to the convenience outlet, and then this is the stick. When the blender case and put on the top, it will push the button that will close the circuit, connect this, and then it will operate now. Then I'll switch this to number 1, and then put this. When you put the blender on the top, then it will push the button to operate. Switch to number 2. Without blender, it will not move, even if it is connected to the live wire. This is a safety also, safety switch. Then put to number 2 the selector. Then it is working. We need to place them all back. To get this back, there's a gap between that area, so it will not move from any portion. It will fit through this. And then the spring, the 2 screws, then after you place it back to the position, then you can now put the base plate. The position of this is like that. You will insert this drain hose to this hole, and then place this wire to this gap. Like that. And the rubber stand. Then test again. Plug the wire. Without the blender container, try to switch, and it's not working due to the open switch. When we put the blender container, it will press the button, and you switch this number 1, number 2, then the manual. And now it's already working.